Welcome to Career Management Objective 2.01, Positive Learning Habits. We are all unique individuals that possess our own style of learning. There are different types of learners. There are audio learners who learn by hearing, visual learners who learn by seeing, and others are hands-on learners who learn by doing. Whichever type of learner you are, learning habits and strategies must be developed to learn at your fullest potential. In this presentation, we'll take a deeper look into auditory learning. Also, we will discuss the various learning strategies, including reading comprehension, memory, note-taking, writing, and test-taking. During the presentation, practice your listening and note-taking skills by focusing on the presentation and taking notes. At the end of the presentation, you'll be given 5 minutes to study your notes prior to taking the exam. This will allow you to put these strategies into practice as well as test your listening skills. To learn at your fullest potential, learning habits and skills must be developed. We can break these into two categories. Learning skills will include listening, memory, and reading comprehension, while learning habits include concentration, note-taking, and writing. Let's look into these habits and skills a bit deeper. To develop good listening strategies, you must stop talking. It is impossible to hear and listen to what someone is saying when you are talking. Becoming a good listener is not easy and takes practice. Active listening is a communication technique. It requires a listener to fully concentrate, understand, respond, and then remember what is said. Focus intently on the teacher or the presenter to be able to listen to what they are saying. Researchers have shown that loud noises and other distractions do not affect concentration. Rather, distractions are created through the way students interpret them. If you have trouble concentrating, here are a few suggestions that may help. Avoid interruptions by creating a study environment using the following methods. Choose an area that will be exclusively used for studying. Surround yourself with study aids. Study in quiet areas without TVs and radios. And do not study in areas where you'll fall asleep or become groggy. Focus on the current task by choosing when to study. Study during the early morning, afternoon, and early evening since you'll retain information better. Also, study during times where you'll not be distracted by friends or extracurricular activities or work responsibilities. And don't study when you're tired. Get plenty of rest. When you can no longer concentrate, you become extremely tired, end the study session. All of us, students and non-students alike, forget important things. This happens when we don't transfer information into long-term memory. It is important to know how to do this in order to do well in school and beyond. Just think about it. You need to remember what you read, what your boss told you, the driving directions someone rushes at you at a stoplight, or as a student, what the teacher says. The following are strategies to use to enhance memorization. Listen and understand. Before you begin trying to memorize something, try to understand it. A good way to do this is by making a connection between what you are learning and what you have experienced. The better you can relate the new information which you already know, the easier it is to learn. Visualize the information, which means to see an image in your head without actually looking at it. Visualization can help you learn almost anything. Here's an example. Let's say the topic is the water cycle. Create a mental image of a cloud. Picture it growing. Now you see and feel this heavy, cold rain. See the rain hitting the ground, then flowing toward the streams and rivers toward the ocean. Now see the hot sun hitting evaporating water and forming clouds. Get the picture? If you can visualize parts of the water cycle, the boring diagram becomes meaningful and rememberable. In general, if you have trouble visualizing material, try drawing maps, charts, graphs, or pictures. Next step is to talk it out. Another learning strategy is to associate or connect each word or event with a person, place, thing, feeling, or situation. This is a strategy that is easy and fun to use, especially if you like to talk. Just talk about the information you have to learn. Create a storyline. Storytelling is a great way to help you remember information in any subject. Write a story by focusing on the key points of what you're learning and arranging them in a logical sequence. It can even be a song or rhyme that tells a story. And here's a bonus. Each event in the story triggers your memory over the next event. So you'll remember even more. Write sentences. Do you remember learning the silly sentence, "Every good boy does fine" from music class? Well, we use this to remember the notes. This strategy can even help us learn those extra troublesome spelling words. Just make up a sentence using words that begin with letters. To rehearse everything means to repeat over and over. When you want to remember information, you have to practice it or else it fades. So just as actors need to rehearse in order to remember their lines, students need to rehearse to remember what they are learning. Here are some helpful hints on rehearsing what information you need to learn from homework or tests. Rehearse for short practice periods, perhaps 30 to 60 minutes, and then take a short is to take notes. Begin taking notes by listening first. Listen carefully to the presenter, focus on what the topic is, and then write well. While taking notes, write clearly so you can read what you have written, and avoid trying to write so fast that your writing becomes unclear. Another rule is to copy from the board. A good rule is when the teacher is writing on the board, that's a signal students should be taking notes. Again, write clearly and be sure to copy exactly what is written on the board. If you need additional time, ask your teacher and he or she will allow you time to catch up. And then finally, organize your notes. A good method of note-taking is the outline method. Start with the key points using Roman numerals and include the related points using letters of the alphabet. You might find the need to rewrite the notes to either add material or organize them in a manner that makes it easier to understand. We must develop good reading comprehension strategies. Ever read a paragraph or story and after you finish reading, you have trouble remembering what you just read? Here are some reading comprehension strategies to help with the comprehension difficulties. This is called the TEACH method. T stands for think. What will this chapter be about, or what is this book about? What do I need to learn from this? E stands for explain or decide what you already know about the chapter or subject you need to learn about. A stands for ask who, what, where, when, and why. C stands for clues. In the title, keywords, headings, and illustration are all clues as to what the chapter, story, or book is about. H stands for handwrite chapter highlights. Write down formulas, definitions, and main concepts. Develop good writing strategies. Write clear and legible so you and others can read it. Write convincing. Make sure your key points and goals are clear. Write in good format, using proper capitalization, punctuation, and sentence structure. Proofread your work. After you have proofread your work at least 3 times, have someone else proofread it for errors. Remember, if I can think it, I can say it. If I can say it, I can write it. If I can write it, I can read it, and so can others. Test taking strategies. Here are some general guidelines for test taking. First, gather knowledge, which is the best preparation for tests. This begins on the first day of class and includes paying attention during class. Put away all items that can distract you during class and refrain from carrying on conversation with others once the class begins. Take good notes. Make sure your notes are clear and emphasize the key points of the lesson. Studying. Take time to study. Review your notes and other review materials to see what you know about the content. Study what you don't know. Take breaks and don't cram. Pulling an all-nighter before a test can have negative results due to lack of sleep. Finally, complete all homework assignments. Keep copies as reference materials to study the test. To take a test, make sure you eat before a test. Having food in your stomach will give you energy and help you focus, but avoid heavy foods that can make you groggy. And get enough sleep. Get at least 3 hours of sleep before the test. Normally 8 hours of sleep at night is recommended, but if you're short on time, get at least 3 hours so that you'll be well rested enough to focus during the test. Always arrive early and take a moment to relax and reduce your anxiety. This brief time period will boost your confidence. Use this time to focus your mind and think positive thoughts. Listen attentively to last-minute instructions given by your instructor. Teachers often make last-minute changes. Missed instructions can cause extreme anxiety. While preparing to take a test, remember to always relax. And sometimes this is easier said than done. Do your best to relax during the test. Here are some tips that will help you. When we use the word relax, the R stands for read each question carefully and then reread it to be sure you know what the question is asking. E is examine every answer choice before you choose your answer. L is look for clues or hints in the stem of the question or answer choices. A lot of times you can find the correct answer in the stem of the question when similar words are used. A means always check your work. Review each question to be sure you have chosen the correct answer. X means to X out or cross out incorrect answers if you're given permission to make marks on the test. Some additional test-taking tips are: don't spend a lot of time on questions that you are unsure of. Mark the question, or in case of online testing, flag the question, and go back to it later. You may find the answer to the question you were unsure of in other questions. Also, watch for questions that contain the words not, except. Also, watch for double negatives. Remember, a double negative makes a positive. For example, not uncommon actually means common. Finally, make sure you answer all of the questions. Many students have failed to notice questions on the back side of the paper. Good study habits. Good study habits include keeping a notebook with section dividers to help you organize your classes, class time, important dates, assignment due dates, and notes for each class. Understand the assignments. If you do not understand the assignment, be sure to ask your teacher for clarification. Read and follow the instructions. Read the instructions carefully to be sure you know what is required to complete the assignment. Keep all of your assignments up to date. It is very easy to get behind when a teacher gives a lot of assignments. Use the calendar to help with due dates. Many smartphones have reminders you can set. Use these reminders to help remember when assignments are due. Schedule a time and place to study. Be sure to make time to study that is uninterrupted and is not interfered with by other responsibilities. Study in short parts, better known as chunking. Break down the assignments into chunks. Doing so will allow you to complete the assignments without becoming tired or groggy. Complete the hard assignments first. Let's look into our long-term memory. Long-term memory is defined as information that is stored in the brain and retrievable over a long period of time, often over the entire lifespan of the individual. This is in contrast with short-term memory, which is a small amount of information in the mind that is readily available for a short period of time. Knowledge communicated or received concerning a particular fact or circumstance, for example, the news, can be stored in long-term memory. Also, knowledge gained through study, communication, research, and instruction is stored in the long-term memory and can be retrieved over a long period of time. Here are some helpful hints to improve both short-term and long-term memory. Eat a healthy diet high in real food and low in processed foods and sugar. Take appropriate brain supplements. Get plenty of sleep, exercise, and with mental stimulation. Reduce stress, as stress is a brain cell killer. After the next slide, close the presentation. You will have 5 minutes to study your notes. At the end of 5 minutes, click on the test in the module to take the test. Good luck.